Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to the conference of LPP Company dedicated to the results after the fourth quarter and the whole 2018. Today we are in Warsaw, in Hotel Warszawa. Hotel Warsaw, we've never been here, but this is a very nice place, and as we were actually...
Też dużo takiego industrialnego industrialnych klimatów, mamy i beton, i drewno, wszystko połączone, wydaje nam się z fajnym smakiem, także.
So we believe this is a very nice hotel. It has been refurbished, and this is a great place to hold conferences. And I have some clothes to show today. We are showing our eco-friendly collection because in addition to the report covering the 2018, we are also publishing CSR integrated report, and I'll talk about that later on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the results. At the end of the year, we have over 1,700 stores operating in 23 countries. We've increased our floor space by 9%. Our LFLs for 12% increase sales by 7%, over 7%. And let's add that to it dynamically growing e-commerce that doubled last year. Then we've got this very nice nearly 15% growth of sales in 2018. Let's take a look at the map. Last year, we've added 3 new countries, Israel, Slovenia, and Kazakhstan. That was the fourth quarter last year. So the number of stores increased by 22, and as you can see, the biggest growth is in Sinsay brand, but you can see also some falls in terms of the number of stores in other brands. That means that we are restructuring the network, the chain of our stores in Poland. We are closing down the smaller ones that are not performing so well stores, and we are investing in bigger, more economic stores. And now a couple of words about sales, LFLs. On the left, on the graph, as you can see, we have over 2% growth of LFLs in the fourth quarter 2018. And taking a look at this graph, we can say that the third and the fourth quarter weren't too good, because previously those growths were several, over a dozen worth. But we can see that, well, definitely we had good growths, and that was a good base for those smaller growths. And the online sales, well, it was growing before by 100%, and the past quarter was the 70% growth, so still dynamic. So we've moved up over the specific amount. So sales split by brands. 40% of sales reserved brand, and as you can see on the left here in the graph, all the brands were growing in terms of sales, excluding Mojito. Let's put those brands in order in terms of the sales. Well, Reserves is the biggest one. Then we have House, for instance, and Crop, and e-commerce would be the fourth if we actually defined it as a brand. So all our brands are growing really nice with the help of new great winter collections. And now sales according to regions. Of course, Poland is still responsible for over 50% of growth, but still the sales is growing really very well in Europe, outside of Poland, but also in the East, 20% and 15% accordingly outside of Poland. It is connected with the fact that outside of Poland, in Europe and in Eastern countries, this is the fastest growth, and in Poland, quarter on quarter, our growth was only 3%. And the total sale, 10% growth in the fourth quarter, and it's obvious on the left, as you can see on the left, that the sales per square meter is dropping because we are opening bigger stores. These are new concept stores. Reserved stores are over 2,000 square meters, and new brands, the Crop House Mojitos. Our stores are 600, 700 square meters floor space, and the average space in shopping centers is 300 square meters. Well, that means that our floor space is growing, so the sales per square meter is dropping down, but also the cost of maintaining the stores are dropping down. And now gross profit margin, it was a really nice time, nearly 60% gross profit margin in the fourth quarter, and because we are following our policy that we are trying to sell at regular prices during the whole period, and then at the end of the season, in the end of the season, we are selling off all the clothes. Well, that works for us, and because we are treating every store individually, we are able to increase the margins. On the right, you can see the FX, US dollar versus Polish zloty. So most of our materials we buy in Asia, paying in dollars, so that influences our margins. So at first, in the first 6 months, we were buying our collections at the price of 3.6, and now the dollar is at the level of 3.8. So you can see that spring summer collection will not bring back, will not record as good margins as last year. But we are controlling our cost very well. We are trying to manage it very well. So this is the cost of own stores on the left. Let me remind you that we've got three elements. So first of all, this is the 93 zloty. And then 55 zloty, this is actually the HR cost. This is also lower than last year. And the other costs, 59 zloty, so less than 61 zloty that was actually last year. So 4% fall of cost in our own stores. And when we add stores and headquarters and e-commerce, then again a fall per square meter by 3%. So first of all, the basis of the fourth quarter of 2017 was really high because we were opening the store in London, and we had a big campaign and a lot of one-off costs. So the basis was really good. Therefore, last year was a very good result and a fall in terms of cost. So let's move on improvements. So the revenue is growing by 10%. The cost is growing at a slower pace. We are trying to maintain the cost balance and good policy. So the EBIT was much better, so by 15% last year, and the net profit was 4.3% year on year. And then over 500 million zloty net profit. The margin is growing really fine, 9.4% growth, and the operational net profit was over 500 million zloty. So we've had a very good year. We are very glad about those results. And now a bit about inventories. So as you can see, they are the same similar level as the previous quarter, and you are always checking this indicator, inventory per square meter. This is lower than the fourth quarter last year and the previous quarter as well. So the inventories are really fine. We are selling, we have an ongoing sale and not piling up inventories. So we have quite good working capital. Our goal was to actually match the liabilities and the inventories. In the third quarter, the situation was different, and now the level is comparable. And well, that is due to seasonality in our operations, but we were actually able to meet our goal. so much the liabilities and the inventory, and with the help of that we had quite a lot of cash from the working capital, and you can see that on the left in the graph, 750 million zloty of cash in the end of the fourth quarter 2018, and additionally 50 million zloty in funds. We need money. Why? We are investing. We are investing quite significantly. Capex on the right, 300 million zloty per capex, and as you can see, well, that the column, the greenish, bluish column is growing. This is our investment in store, but the gray column, these are the infrastructural investments. So offices, new logistical centers, construction, 150 million zloty per infrastructure in the fourth quarter of 2018. This is what was spent. Now summarizing the whole 2018 year. So we had a good growth in LFLs and really strong growth of online sale, and with the help of that, the sale has reached a high level. We are controlling our costs and we generate cash that will be spent on new investments. Let's move on to the second part of our presentation. So, key corporate events. So, the biggest one was opening a new market, the 23rd market in Kazakhstan. So, that was our first store opened in Almaty. We will enter new towns, new cities in the countries. So this is ahead of us. We are still developing in the south of Europe. New stores in Serbia were opened, also in Romania. And our collections are doing really great in the southern Europe, so we'd like to invest more in this area. And a very interesting project reserved, teamed up with British Vogue, and together with the stylists from Vogue, we've created several models that were sold in the biggest stores in Berlin, London, Warsaw, and in Moscow, but also they were sold online. So that was a mini collections, just a couple of models, a couple of clothes, glamour collection that was sold in December. So why did we do it? We believe that Reserved brand is becoming a global brand, and with the help of such projects such as cooperation with Vogue, we are able to create, to develop Reserved as a global brand, and then we treat our London store for image purposes. As you know, we've actually worked a lot on our Reserved collection for the past 2 years. We've improved that. We've started with women's collection, then we moved on to the kids collection. So the time came to actually improve the male collection, men collection. So we believe that this collection will improve this year. We can see positive changes. New trends will be included. New elements will be included in this collection. So we hope to see it soon in our stores. And in addition to those events that sell very well in media, well, so the collection with British Vogue opening a new market, we also had a very important project, a project that will be very important for our future. So this is connected with RFID implementation, so electronic brand label, sorry. So it's not just about the label sewn in the clothes, but this is our rotating clip that is called by us. When you are actually buying clothes in the store, you can see a big clip that is anti-theft clip. So this one is actually now a smaller clip that is anti-theft, but also that records an individual number of a cloth, of a piece of cloth. So Why do we do that? This is connected with our cost because we need to ensure the circulation of the rotating clips. They are actually put on the clothes in the factories, then they are brought to us. Then we scan every box. So we change the letters, we change the lists. And then we compare it with the boxes and with the clothes, with the pieces of clothes, and then the clothes is sent to the stores, and the same clip will be read, scanned by the personnel. So once this is scanned, this is actually recorded in the cash desk, so that makes sales quicker because this is done automatically. So this is the rotating clip. It will be traveling around the world. So it will cost us around 60 million zloty. This will be the rotating cost, annual cost. Of course, we invest in IT, new systems, new software. We need to buy equipment for the logistical centers in order to read this RFID technology. Plus, every store needs to have special equipment to read the electronic labels. So, on the one hand, we've got investment, but on the other hand, our stores become more efficient. So as we have already said, the sale process takes quicker. So the customer doesn't really spend that much time anymore at the cashier desk. So we've got a better information where the inventories are, where the products are, and the rotation is bigger. As you can know, today the customers are not very patient people. So if the female customer is actually checking a dress and is trying to find the right size, well, this is the technology that will help us to add some additional sizes and models of clothes. In addition to that, we need to say that the clips are not put in the store but in the factory already, so that helps us with more efficiency in the store. What do we get in exchange? So we've read a lot of things about RFID technology. We can see that expert specialists say that implementation of RFID translates into growth of sale of 3 to 8%. So we've decided that if our sale grows by 3%, well, this will give back the investment, so we will have the return on the investment already. So how the implementation worked? So in 2018 we started a pilot project of the technology, so we prepared the equipment and our IT systems. So in 2019 we will have a rollout of our RFID system in all our stores. As of the 2020, we will be actually covering all other brands as well, not just Reserved as it is in 2019. So we really hope that we will be able to note some additional sale in Reserved with the help of this technology this year. Now, talking about the deliveries of commodities, of online products, deliveries to the customers. So if we are able to actually do it from the level of the store and not the warehouse, so the store is actually packing the clothes, the products, and sending it to the client, and the store that is the closest geographically to the client, well, that would be just so much more better. And this is how this technology will work in the future. Another information, CSR. Last year we've published the first integrated report, so we've called it Let's Meet, Let's Get to Know Each Other Better. So we've introduced ourselves, and this year we've published another integrated report, and this is entitled Polish brand company global brand. So we are talking about chain of deliveries. We focus on the Asian factories, especially in Bangladesh. We show how our cooperation with international organizations. We show that all our factories are audited by us, but also by international organizations, but international auditors, particularly from the UK. And this report also tells you about our responsibility for environment, so eco-friendly collections that are becoming so popular in our stores. We are telling you that we are not using animal materials in our collections, that we are using new materials such as stencil, new technologies that will help us to produce more eco-friendly clothes. And we are also very active in terms of charity. In the end of 2017, we've appointed LPP Foundation that's started to actually fully operate in 2018. And last year, we've spent 1.5 million zloty for charity projects. Over 100 organizations have received money from the foundation. Also, we support young people who enter the job market. Often they come from orphanages, so we've actually helped them through the project that is called First Fitting. So we help them to actually start working. So we help them to write a CV, to go through the interview. We show them how it is to work in the stores, in the headquarters, and many of those people are hired by LPP. We encourage you to see the report, to check it, to read it. It's available. It's been published on our website, and we also offer it here in this room. It's been printed, so if anyone is interested, please go ahead and take one. Another third part of our presentation. So this is 2019 outlook. This is the most interesting for you, I bet. Let's start with floor space. We are planning the growth that will be faster than last year. Last year we've been growing by 9%, and now we are planning this growth to reach 11%. But please see, Poland's growth is a minimum, just 1% growth of floor space. So the company will be growing mostly in the EU countries and in the East, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus. And now, individual brands. In 2018, the biggest growth happened in Sinsay and House. This year, we'd like to grow more sustainably. So we have a plan for growth in crop and house. 2 new markets will be opened this year, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Finland in autumn. But let me tell you this right now, that Bosnian market has been opened in March already, so the first stores have been opened already in March. So we are up to date and according to our plan. And the capex plan for this year, 860 million zloty, a little bit more than last year. So we will spend on the stores 670 million zloty. So what will happen to the stores? Because we are talking a lot. Everyone says that online sales wins, and it's not worth it to invest in traditional stores. We don't believe that. We believe in 2 channels of distributions, but on the one hand, of course, online sales is growing dynamically, which is proved by our results as well, but we believe that the future will be the combination of 2 channels. Therefore, we invest in new stores that will be more ergonomic stores that come with new technologies, so new lights, ventilation systems, and air conditioning systems in those stores. And we believe that we also need to invest in our stores when we think about the future. So in 2011, 2013, we have signed a lot of contracts for new rental contracts for new stores. And usually this contract takes around 7-8 years, and this is the year when those expire, those contracts expire, and we need to renew it. And of course, we want to renew those contracts and have better conditions, but at the same time, we'd like to refurbish the stores to adjust to match them with the new trends, market trends. So we add new technology so that our customers feel really nice, feel really good in those stores. They want to come back to those stores. Now let's take a look at the table. Top row, this shows you that we will spend 770 million zloty in 2019, in 2020 620 million zloty, and 2021 500 million zloty. So this is the investment for the coming 3 years. But of course we will invest in offices, so over around 300 million zloty between 2019 and 2021. And also logistics will take some money. We will spend money on the new logistical center in Brześć Kujawski. So we will spend around 3 billion zloty on investment, 860 million zloty in 2019, 980 million zloty in 2020, and 820 million zloty in 2021. And in 3 years, we will come back to normal standard levels of 500 million zloty. And another row, IT and other systems, 50 million zloty. This is what we want to spend every year in order to improve our systems and e-commerce as well. And our goal is to go past 1 billion zloty of e-commerce revenues. And our long-term goal is also still 20% of e-commerce share in total revenues in 3 years. How do we want to meet this goal? Well, first of all, we want to open new stores in new countries. So this year we will open online store in Ukraine and pan-European store. So all European customers will be able to buy our products online. So we'll be delivering clothes from Poland but across Europe. Is it an easy task? Well, surely not. Therefore, we need to invest in the infrastructure that is connected with e-commerce logistics. Therefore, this year we will be outsourcing a logistical center in Romania that will be delivering products to the south of Europe, but we are talking only about online channel deliveries. And 2019 goals outlook, well, they are close to what we shown you last year. So again, double-digit growth of revenues. We will reach that with the help of positive growth of LFLs and the further development of e-commerce. So the margin, the group's gross profit margin should be between 54-55%. But as far as you can remember, 54-57% was last year, but I believe that because of the dollar price, we will be actually closer to 54%. But we will be controlling costs as well, and we will continue actually generating cash because we want our company to develop well but safely as well. So we will be opening new stores in new countries. This is our main goal. We will be continuing development of e-commerce and RFID implementation. These are the main pillars, the key pillars, and the chance for growth in the future. And I'd like to add a few more information, pieces of information about situation. So Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia and Hungary, this is the region. In Poland we have a saturated market, over 900 stores. Well, probably this will be decreasing, but we will be constructing better, nicer, better looking stores. So Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary. we will be refurbishing our stores, we will be constructing nicer stores and developing e-commerce, but this market is quite saturated, so we will be developing better and stronger in Balkan countries, Romania, Slovenia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina that has been just opened. So we will be focusing on this market in terms of development. We will be opening e-commerce warehouse in Romania that will deliver the clothes to those countries. So Baltic countries, nice markets, well operating good markets. So we will be modernizing the stores that we've got, but the outcomes that we've got after refurbishment of the first stores, well, these are very promising changes, and the data that comes back is very promising. So eastern countries, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is our newest market, and this is a big country. This is a big country.
Dobrze.
So Kazakhstan, this is the country
rozwijać na pewno w ciągu
that will be developing in the coming years. We have 10 cities of 250,000 citizens, and taking into account our start, it seems that we should be actually developing quite fine, and we should reach the number of around 40 stores. So the potential for growth of e-commerce is really good. Ukraine, this is also an interesting market. Not much of a competition will be developing there, and Belarus, and this is our franchise country, but we are planning to change that. We like to repurchase the stores from our franchise partners and to operate independently there, but I will talk about the details during our next conference. And Western Europe, and of course we've opened stores in Germany and in the UK. We are not planning any changes, so we will keep the stores that we've got. We will not be opening new ones, but we will not be closing any store as well. So we are focusing on our sales in the stores that we already own. So another market that we would like to add to the group of our markets is Finland. So the rules will be a little bit different than before. So we will be opening in a shopping center, and the rentals will be similar to the Polish level. So we will see how Finnish market will, whether they will like our brands. But we need to say that Finnish people tend to go for shopping to Estonia, and this is where we operate already. And in additional, we will actually open these stores, and we will see which markets in Europe are the best in terms of our sales. So this is our investment in the future, and a good chance for us to further develop in the future. And then the last market, Middle East. So this is actually the biggest disappointment, because we were planning to open more stores in this region. So we are using the franchise model here, so we need to stick to our franchise partner, and because of the difficult macroeconomic and geopolitical situation in this region, well, this partner isn't really interested in opening new stores, so the development is not as fast as we wanted it, but we are doing quite well in Israel, so we hope to open new stores in this country as well. So 3 information slides, and this is gonna be the end of the presentation. So the change in the fiscal year. You know that this year will be a longer year. This will be 13-month long year. So the first 3 quarters will be the same as before. So January, March The second and the third one will be standard as well, but the fourth quarter will take 4 months. So we will not finish in December, but in January. So as of 2020, our working fiscal year will start in February and will end in January. So next year there will be a normal 12-month long year, but as you can see, this change is more natural for us. So as a company, we start to introduce spring summer collection in February, and we end the year with the sale of winter collections in January. So this shift will help us to have a better management and to have a better information cycle. So our internal and external reporting will be matched finally. So everything will be compatible with what's happening inside. So the second slide, what will happen after IFRS 16? So the big change in terms of reporting of rentals. As you can see, our balance will increase in terms of assets by 3 billion zloty, and our liabilities will be higher by around 3 billion zloty. So some around half of rental expenses will be recognized under IFRS. So, so actually 600 million zloty depreciation will pick up. So EBIT will also be a positive, and we will also have new financial interest. In addition to that, we will have to actually add some operating cash flows. We don't know what will happen exactly, but during the conference in around 45 days, I'll tell you more about that. But we will show you our results in two ways, before and after IFRS 16. Because, for instance, me personally, I understand that the outcomes before IFRS 16 are more understandable, more clear. So I like this duality. And the last slide. So the management board has proposed the dividend. We are still waiting approval. So the dividend will be 110 million zloty. It will be 50% higher, and the date has changed as well, because before it was always paid in September. This year we'd like to speed this process up and to pay the dividend in June, always in June. So, well, that's all from me. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and 40 minutes. Yeah, everything's according to the plan. So if you have any questions, then let's start the Q&A questions. But we need to actually do that the same as usual. So please speak up to the microphone, because we need translation for our online broadcasting. Grzegorz Witkowski, Insignia Center. I have a short question about 2019 outlook. So I'm talking about net profit margin. What can we expect? You said that the previous year was record-setting, but not in terms of net profit margin. 2017 was better. Is there any chance to actually go back to the same level, 10%, for instance? This is a difficult question, because this new system in terms of IFRS 16 changes a lot, so we are unable to say how that works. We will do everything to improve that situation. We had significant write-offs connected with tax. It's seems to be behind us, so we will be fighting for a better net profit margin, but I can't really tell you what the difference will be between the future and the current one. Maria Mickiewicz, PKO. I have two questions. The first one, now looking at the trends, cost of sales and sale per square meter, the fourth quarter and the first quarter this year, quite positive tendencies. So the question is, taking a look at 2019, is the lookout more positive? Outlook more positive. Now, entering 2019, starting 2019, well, we are focusing more on our cost more than before. We can see the trends in terms of dollar. So the first margins will be under pressure. So we are focusing on our costs and we believe that they will be definitely lower than in 2018. The growth per square meter will be lower than in 2018. Now, let me just clarify that for you. Then we will definitely focus on our store-related costs. RFID will help us do that, and we will have lower growth of cost in headquarters, for instance. And well, this year we will have quite a challenge for our e-commerce, which will be the optimization logistical costs, because we are delivering more and more outside of Poland, so the last mile is the most important. Therefore, we are working on the logistical distribution centers, hence the distribution center in Romania. We want to actually push down the cost, logistical cost. So we will be actually focusing on that today. We are unsure about sales still, because the first quarter was quite good, but that was also connected with the weather, because a year ago we started good sales in April, and we need to remember that our base is quite high. So looking from this perspective, well, focusing on the cost should help us to improve the total result this year. One more question concerning the plans, capex plans for the coming 4 years. Which part of the over 2 billion zloty cost of store can be associated with the refurbishments, and which part is spent on openings? Well, the capex on the stores and the growth of floor space, comparing those two numbers, you understand that either we are building something or the numbers are wrong. So numbers are really fine. So refurbishment, lifting of the stores costs a lot of money. So out of all the amount that will be spent on new stores, around half of that will be spent on the refurbishment and modernization of the stores. Michał, please go ahead. Michał Kuzewiński, JP Morgan. So gross profit margin estimate 54-55%. Are we talking about 13-month long a year? So yes, so this is the estimate. The forecast is for 13 months. No, I was thinking about 12-month long year. I keep on thinking the old way. So 54-55%. This is year on year. This is the comparable period. If we are talking about 13-month long year, well, we may go down a little bit. I remember that during previous meeting, depreciation was 200 million zloty, and the drop of rentals, a big difference of cost. And now you are saying that the level is similar. Is there any good change in terms of cost of rentals on the level of EBIT? As we were forecasting, the total cost may go down by 30-40 million zloty according to IFRS 16 as compared to the previous standard. But on the side of financial cost, well, this amount will grow, so there will be interest. So the total IFRS cost, well, the cost can be higher by 50-60 million zloty in terms of the whole year. We have another question. I'd like to refer to the CapEx question asked by Maria. So the outlays on modernization, can you actually count on any help from the shopping centers? So any fit outs, you have to pay for that. So LPP is not strong enough company. Can you actually give the shopping center a condition that you'll stay in the shopping center if the owner of the shopping center refurbishes the stores? Well, as a company, we actually are quite strong. We have a lot of fit outs, around 1/3 of our costs is returned, but we receive our fit outs. We actually get it most often when we come into a new shopping center and they don't know yet what will be the sales there. But in those shopping centers, when we only refurbish our stores, well, of course, we'd like to keep the stores just in those shopping centers that perform really well. But those shopping centers, they know that as well, and they are not really very glad to give the fit outs. So with refurbishment, the fit out rate is much lower than when we actually open our stores in completely new shopping centers. I have a question, a general question to the representative of one of the biggest retail sellers in Poland, because the data shows that consumers are really happy and they're growing. However, in terms of sales of textile market, well, the situation is not that good. So the drop downs in prices. So you know quite a lot of about the traffic in the stores, how that translates into the sales and so on. So what would you say? And now, taking into account the last quarter of 2018 and the first quarter of 2019, well, if I'm reporting on the level of group LFLs that are 11%, in Poland it's just 6% in LFLs. So abroad we are growing much faster and the consumer is much stronger than in Poland. Now, taking into account all countries in our portfolio, then Poland is one of the worst performing country in our portfolio. But on the other hand, we can see that the ban on Sundays has negatively influenced the situation, because we have never caught up with those Sundays online, but however it's been working quite well. But with the help of our coverage across the Europe, well, we can't really complain as a group. Konrad Świętochowski, Hainan Bank. I'd like to ask about the write-offs, 30 million zloty. Which cities are included? Just Poland? How many square meters? I don't remember the cities exactly, but we are talking about close downs of stores that are to be closed in 2019, all outlet stores that were, and they include stores not just in Poland but also abroad as well. So in terms of square meters, quite a lot of square meters. I believe 30,000 square meters will be closed down, but not just in Poland, it's also in outside of Poland. Most of it will be in Poland, yes. A short-term question about April. What can we expect? Because after we see data from January, February, and actually late Easter, will that actually change the situation in terms of sales? In general, Easter holidays help to sell more, so the week before Easter is always very good, but now taking into account the past 2 months, March was a very good month for us, but our weather helped because last year March was quite cold, so the sales weren't that good. And starting as of the second quarter, we actually had good sales because sun was shining and the weather was really warm. And now, checking the beginning of April this year, we can see small drop downs in LFLs, but we hope that pre-Easter week that starts Monday, next week, will help us to improve the balance of the month. But the base for the second quarter of last year is really high. The warm weather has helped us a lot. The whole textile industry was helped by the weather. So we know that the task is really big if we want to improve the results, the outcomes, but well, we are working on it.
Dobrze, czy mam jeszcze jakieś pytania?
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Nie widzę, dobrze. W
I
takim
don't see
razie
any
bardzo
questions.
dziękuję
So
za
thank you so much,
prezentację.
ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity because Easter is just around the corner. Please have a great Easter and let's see each other in month and a half at the end of May during the next conference. Thank you so much.